What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Fourth and Wrong podcast. I am one of your hosts, Marshall, along with Colin, Donnie, and Dallas. The wild card round of the playoffs has been wrapped up with the Lions and Chiefs not playing as they've both gotten the first seed, and wasn't the most amazing first round. There were some good games, more in particularly one than the others.
I think one good game.
One good game. There was a couple where it was like, oh, this could be a good game, and then it just gets blown out of proportion. So that's just really how the seeding works in the playoffs. We got a lot of news going around the NFL. Obviously the teams that did make the playoffs, a lot of coachings, and then a lot of interviews, hirings, and speculations of what's going on. And then obviously to finish it off, we have the divisional round to cover. 4 games, but a lot to talk about with those 4 games. A lot of potentialings that could happen, and some good matchups, some great matchups. So we'll get all to that in the podcast. I won't start with picks. I guess we can do that once we get to picks and how we did last week, even though it doesn't really matter. The regular season's over, but I still kept track of our picks for the playoffs. I guess we can keep it in a separate format. So I don't know what you guys want to talk about first, but there was I guess we can just get to some of the wild card games if you guys would like to. The Chargers Houston kicked it off, and we all thought the Chargers were going to win. Obviously, the Texans, Herbert looked terrible. I don't know what happened from the regular season to then. I don't know if it's just like I don't know. I can't even explain it. But the Texans have not been great all year, but then the defense just showed out. Pittsburgh, Baltimore was another one. It's just kind of
another loss in the playoffs.
Yeah, another loss in the playoffs for Pittsburgh. It's just year after year. They got to change something. I kind of see where Dallas is coming from in the Mike Tomlin.
They have not won a playoff game since 2016.
And they've all been bad losses.
It's been almost a decade.
Let me tell you this. I saw this stat. This is the 7th playoff game in a row where the Steelers were trailing by 21 or more points.
That is insane.
7th game in a row.
We had the Broncos versus the Bills, which at first looked promising for the Broncos, and then the Bills just became the Bills, and they were
31 unanswered.
And yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. Packers, Philadelphia, another quarterback just looking like absolute dog shit.
Man, I cannot wait to talk about Jordan Love later.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that a little bit more. And then Washington, Tampa Bay, the one game that everyone thought was going to be a good game, and it was a great game. It was a good game, back and forth game, really close for both teams. And the Commanders, I think, the Bucs are a good team. I think Baker's definitely the better quarterback, but I think it's that. I've been high on the Dan Quinn. I think he's a good coach, and I think he's got a good thing going on in Washington. So that was a great game. And then finishing off with what we thought was going to be a good game, but the Lions just soul crushing everybody. We put Rodgers out of Green Bay, and we put Sam Darnold back to real life. And
same old Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the Rams were. They looked decent, and I think they might not have been rolling just because of how bad that Vikings team played, but they've definitely got momentum now. So if they take some of that momentum and use it against the Eagles, it's going to be a lot. So yeah, we could just talk about the games, but that was a little preview of kind of what happened over Wild Card weekend. So I don't know which game you guys want to get into first. Like I said, there were some bad games.
We could probably go in order of all the games you just did because yeah, that fucking Chargers game was ugly, man. I'm a big Herbert guy. I like Herbert. I think he's so talented. I think if you're ranking top talents, he's top 5 quarterback talent. It's just he fucking falls apart in the playoffs. It looked
like it was going to be a turnover fest for a little bit. Both of them were just hooking up picks for the first.
CJ didn't look the best either.
No, they were just both hooking up picks for a minute.
They looked like. I don't know. I saw something, and this is more of a Herbert thing than it is about the actual game, but I saw somebody say, if you were to take Baker Mayfield's intangibles and give them to Justin Herbert, Herbert would be a top 5 quarterback, no question. It would be him and Mahomes would be a legit debate. Whereas if you took Herbert's intangibles and his mental stuff and gave it to Baker Mayfield, Baker wouldn't even fucking be able to play college football. And I was like, honestly, that sounds a little crazy, but it's kind of right. I like Herbert, but it's not even so much that this one was bad; it's that the last playoff loss. If we
they have not gotten over that blown lead against the Jaguars. That was one of the worst things we've seen in the playoffs, and besides obviously the 28-3, but that was bad, and they have not gotten over it. But it's not like the Chargers don't. I mean, that sucked, but it's not like they don't have anything to not look forward to. Besides Justin Herbert, obviously, Vlad McConkey has showed out this year, but they got a lot they can build on. Joe Alt looks like he might be one of the best tackles in football in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got a lot to build on the defense. Who knows if they'll keep both Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, but they've got
rumors Mack might retire.
As much as
Mack's a legit free agent for the first time ever, so that's kind of a big one.
That's insane, actually.
I don't know.
As much as I hate, I'm not a big fan of him, especially since he was a coach in Michigan. They're in good hands with Harbaugh, so they'll. I think
they're ahead of schedule, honestly.
I do too. I think no one expected them to play this well this year, so I think they've got a lot to look forward to. Houston, we'll see what they did transitions into playing Kansas City, but it's Kansas City.
Good in the playoffs.
I will say,
you never know. I mean, it's Kansas City, but you can never say never.
I'm looking at last year, kind of similar to this year for the Texans. Last year, they beat the dog shit out of the Browns, but the Browns were by far the worst team in the playoffs, and Joe Flacco gave them. They were.
But Flacco was playing good before the playoffs. It
was their defense that was severely carrying them. And to be fair, the Nick Chubb injury did not help because then they just lost their huge run attack. But I don't know. Houston's. I don't know what the spread's at, but it's such a scary game to take because if you look at the year, Texans have played average at best in a bad division, and Kansas City is 15-2, but obviously they don't look like the old Kansas City that they don't look. They're not dominant by any means, but this is also they also turn it the fuck up in the playoffs. But sometimes you never know. It just out of nowhere they could just suck for some reason. In terms of betting, I'm not touching this game, and I don't know why. I just don't trust either team. It scares me. Until I see if Mahomes goes out here and does what he does in the playoffs, okay, then guess what? Next game, I don't care who they play, I'm taking KC. But I don't trust Houston, and I don't trust KC enough.
The Chiefs are an 8.5-point favorite.
It's right around the line. That's just so scary.
I think the line opened at about a touchdown. It was either that one or the Rams-Eagles, which is at exactly a touchdown right now. So, I don't know. I feel like that's an all right line, knowing what the Chiefs do in the playoffs. Like you said, it's kind of a hard game to bet because, the Texans, I don't think they're up to snuff with most of the remaining playoff teams. But, C.J. Stroud, if he turns it on, Mixon looked really good. They committed to running the ball from what I saw that Chargers game. So, if you can do that, that's kind of really what the success is in the playoffs. Is if you have a good line and you can control the ball, you're going to be in any game in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't count them out, but yeah, I see Kansas City. They should win by a touchdown plus, honestly.
Pittsburgh went into Baltimore, and Baltimore is obviously a dominant team this year. Lamar Jackson, I think, in my opinion, should be the MVP. I think he just had a better year. But that team's too much. And Pittsburgh, just another year, another playoff loss. It must be rough being a Pittsburgh fan, man. You do so decent every year, but you're like, all right, we made the playoffs. And then you shit the bed, man. You shit the bed every fucking year. That is, at least, it would be a little bit better, hey, they want to play, we made the playoffs the last 7 years and we won 2. All right, it depends on when those 2 years were, but, they just can't do shit. And Dallas brought up the point in the last video, honestly, it's just, I saw a thing that was the Steelers are in an endless cycle of they get a mid QB and then they look good, and then they shit the bed when it comes to the playoffs. After the Big Ben era, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
They try to put a Band-Aid on their QB situation, and it just
should have kept Justin Fields in, man.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna get into that. Justin Fields should have gotten a little bit more opportunities, in my opinion, especially when the game's out of hand already. Throw him in there. Why not? Fuck it. But
I will.
No, I was just gonna cap off like it's just they got a quarterback problem and they don't address it.
They have a shitty run game. Their passing game is just okay. Why not throw in that dual threat QB that can put the pass where he needs to be if you need to, but also is absolutely lethal on his feet, especially against a guy. Now, I'm not saying they would have beat the Ravens, but against a guy who was also lethal on his feet. Like, I don't know. I didn't see Russ getting it done. Now, if they had a Christian McCaffrey or a Jahmyr Gibbs or even like anybody, a Saquon at running back, maybe
a top 15 running back.
But honestly, I don't care what anybody says. Najee's just mid. He gets you 3-4 yards and that's about it. But that's not good. He doesn't get the
most inefficient 1,000-yard season ever. Like
he's just been below average his entire career. So, and then the wide receiver group, it's George Pickens is great, but then there's the games, which I kind of do blame a little on Russ, that he just doesn't get targeted a lot, which you just got to give this man targets. He's probably one of the best just jump ball receivers in the league right now. This man can go up for anything and come down with it. So the Steelers have a lot to work on. They're a dumpster fire, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Steelers definitely, they're in. I still 100% disagree with what Dallas said last week, that Tomlin is holding them back. I think is exactly what you said. I think that's actually totally the opposite of their problem. I think their problem is they go into every year with I would say overall a talent deficit. I don't think they're as talented as most AFC teams. I think the defense has a lot of good personnel, but the offense obviously fucking sucks ever since Big Ben there at the end. So it's like they go in every season with a talent disadvantage, at least on offense, and the AFC where like the offense means the most with Mahomes and everybody in it. So they kind of skate by. Tomlin gets them well enough. Like Dal said, he slaps a Band-Aid on everything. Quarterback, just he makes enough points where like they win games. They win 9-10 games. And then they get in the playoffs. And once you can put a Band-Aid on something for like a couple of games, you can look good for a couple games. And you can even stretch that over the course of the season and win enough games. But once you get to the point where like everybody's team's kind of banged up the same, there's no real like Band-Aid you can put on anything, and you face a team like the fucking Ravens or the Bills, they're gonna beat your fucking ass because like you just do not have enough talent to keep up with them. So I think I love Tomlin. If I was a fan of a team with Tomlin, I would not want him gone. But I think for the Steelers' sake, in order to 100% completely redo it the right way, I would move on from Tomlin, solely because they just need a hard reset. I don't know what it is.
And that was what I was trying to get with holding. Yeah. He's holding them back.
Yeah, I mean,
in that sense,
I think that's just a harsh way to say it. When you say holding them back, it makes it sound like it's
I get that.
I think they are a perennial 4 to 5 win team that he stretches into a 10-win team. You can't hate him for that. You know what I mean? Like it's not his fault that he's a good coach.
He's a Hall of Fame coach, no doubt. It's just
I think
some people got to know when it's time for a full rebuild, though. And I get the whole like however many consecutive winning seasons at this point, but when you have all of those winning seasons, eventually you gotta start winning in the postseason. I mean, all those regular seasons are great, but like
perfect example is Philadelphia. Philadelphia got rid of Andy Reid.
Yeah,
like got them to a Super Bowl. Andy Reid got them to a Super Bowl. They didn't win. They got rid of him. What'd they do? They went and got another coach.
They sucked for a while, but then
they got Doug Peterson. Won them a Super Bowl.
Give him what's you're saying, man? What you're saying?
Ride him until he sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, it's tough because like I think a big part of this too is it's tough because he's doing it for the Steelers. I think if he was on the Colts or the Jags or the Titans, they would be like, you know what, fuck it, 10 wins, get us to the playoffs. Like 1 year we might get lucky for a couple stretch, and like make a Super Bowl. His biggest problem is that he's coaching for the Steelers, a team that's like has high level of success historically. So it's like those fans specifically are like, we don't really give a fuck. Like we would rather win 3 games with the chance to eventually win another Super Bowl rather than just be good all the time. You know what I mean? It's
especially when that coach is the one that got you to a Super Bowl and won. You expect him to do it again.
I know it's a tough spot. Like, it's easy for me to be like, you know what, move on from him here. But man, if I was a Steelers fan, that's a tough. It's like what Caldwell was. You know what I mean? Like Caldwell, like I didn't want to get rid of him. Like, and he's not what Tomlin is. He's not even close to what Tomlin is. But it's like, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough spot to be in for damn sure.
He does have a trade clause, so you never know what's gonna happen with Tomlin. He might get traded.
I will say, as the Justin Fields hater, they needed to put Justin Fields in a little bit. I'm not saying you start him. I'm not saying you go to him as starting quarterback in any way. But like down the stretch, that final like month of the season when the offense kind of fell apart, you needed to have Justin Field packages. You should have put him in for a series. You should have put him in for a couple of plays.
All I'm saying is this is what happens when you don't ride him until he sucks, you know?
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
All right, Colin, let's not make that.
We got to move on now.
We'll just, so we're not here forever. Obviously, we got to kind of move. There's a lot more to talk about with head coaching vacancies. So let's just kind of move. The Bills Broncos was a blowout. I mean,
it looked like it was going to be a good game for a minute.
Yeah,
I
mean,
literally.
I was kind of excited about that game. I thought Bo Nix was going to be able to keep it like somewhat close for a while.
I'm the only person who picked the Broncos, and when I saw they were up 7-0, I was like, I'm gonna fucking be right, and then immediately. Wait! I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, it makes sense.
It's one of those moments where you're like, all right, bet, and then you like sit forward in the chair while you're playing Madden, and you gotta lock in.
Oh yeah, I literally saw it and I was like, bro, that's gonna be a big brain moment. I was thinking like Dolphins hanging 70. I was like, dude, this is gonna be such a fucking. See, guys,
it's gonna be remembered forever. It's gonna go in the Fourth and Wrong Hall of Fame.
Yeah, fucking did not last long. Jesus.
Really
game after that was the Packers flew to Philadelphia for Jordan Love to play like absolute shit.
Packers, let's take a minute to talk about this one.
Another year, another letdown. I mean, we've been saying it all. Me and Donnie have been saying it all year. This man Jordan Love is just not that guy under any circumstance. I don't care if I don't care if Christian Watson was hurt.
Guys, I know like I'm not preaching to the fucking choir with me and Marshall here. He is a bottom tier starter. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
I have been
really
not a Jordan Love hater, but been like he's not as bad as you guys say. That game kind of has me on your guys' like train right now.
He's legit
on our train.
Awful. Hold on,
that one wasn't even bad. You're reaching for that. All right,
bro. I came with some fucking receipts for this goddamn game. This motherfucker this year, I would say. The 3 best teams that he faced in the conference this year were the Eagles, Lions, and Vikings. Would you guys say that's not really a stretch? Those are probably the 3 best teams.
Yep.
He faced those teams 6 times in total. Those 3 teams. 6
Lost
times
every
combined.
single one.
He was 0-6. More than that. 0-6. He completed 58% of his passes for 254 yards a game. He had 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But most of those touchdowns came when he was down, I believe, 21 or 28-0 against the Vikings in like that first matchup and kind of made it close. And he only had a 78 passer rating. So the fact that this week he was 22 for 33, 212 yards, no touchdowns, 3 picks. Like that is the definition of shitting the bed against any good teams. Like he was looking good against the Bears and all these other fucking squads, but like when the shit hit the fan, he looked fucking awful, and he was probably the biggest reason they lost. Like I think the Eagles win anyway, but
you know what's kind of crazy?
Like, it started out tough, but he did.
The Packers are a missed field goal away from being 0-6 in the division this year.
a blocked field goal too. It wasn't even like a legit miss. It was like
it was a blocked field goal, which like something to be said about like finding like
game of
inches. Like you got to give him credit for blocking the field goal, but like if that misses someone's hand by like a little bit, like that's how close they were to being 0-6 in the division this year, and missing the playoffs too, probably.
Yeah. I wrote this down earlier when I was writing down shit. I looked at the full playoff field, like the teams that just got eliminated and everything. I think, without question, Jordan Love was the worst quarterback outside of Russell Wilson. I will listen to like a Russell Wilson argument, but I think like I'm taking Jaden Daniels over him. I'm taking Baker over him. I'm taking Justin Herbert over him. Like
I don't know, man. Mahomes been looking fishy.
All right.
I don't know. Sam Darnold was still seeing ghosts. I don't know.
I think Aaron Glenn broke Sam Darnold again. I genuinely think so.
That was fucking tough.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. But
moving on to the next game. We know the Packers
are ass.
We've been preaching Packers are ass all year, to be fair. So, Washington, Tampa Bay on Sunday night, the game that everyone thought that was going to be good, that was a very close and good game. It was just a good game. I mean, there was a lot. It looked like the Bucs were gonna just take control for a little bit, but in the end, Jaden Daniels he's been a solid quarterback in the league, man. And I think it's just the Bucs have a lot of missing pieces on their team that they need to fill, and I know on defense are quite a bit of them, but they're still. I think they were a good team. I thought they were going to win for a second, but it was just a good game. It was a good game that came down to a doink for the win, which was wild.
Doink for the win.
So for the win is crazy.
And now the Commanders, but this is as much. Even though the Lions are playing them, I have never been like Commanders aren't like my favorite team or top favorite team, but I've always been a person that's like I think the Commanders are a decent franchise. Like, and I think that they've just had a lot of bad luck. RG3 was that guy, and then just shitty luck, and that just kind of ruined because they traded away so much for RG3 that he should have been that guy, and then it just obviously didn't work out. And we know why. So I'm glad to see them go get Jaden, and it is his rookie year, so let's hope things pan out. I don't want to jinx anything, but I am glad to see them get a playoff win. And even as a Lions fan, I know that they are by far worse than us. I'm not comfortable. Like, this man Jaden Daniels is a lethal guy on his feet and in the air, and our defense can be suspect at sometimes. So I am very nervous about what could happen. I do think it's either going to be like a close game, like we win, like it's got a chance to be either a close game and they win by a field goal, we win by a field goal, or we might just blow them out. I don't know. It's tough, but Commanders look good. They are a good team, and they've still got a lot of. I like Dan Quinn. I do as a coach, so they played very well, and I'm scared. I'm not. I to be fair, I'd rather play them than honestly. I don't know. The Vikings were pretty bad. I was about to say Vikings and Rams, but
shout out to MSU legend Magic Johnson and minority owner of the Washington Commanders on getting that playoff dub the other day. And just had to throw my little MSU tie in.
You would get a Magic Johnson shout out today.
Since we're doing shout outs, shout out to Battle Creek Central High School alumni Tony McGee, former Washington at the time Redskin and Super Bowl champion.
All right, then if we're doing shout outs, shout out Bowling Green football for no other reason than it's Bowling Green football.
I'm sure
shout
out Amir players have played
if he was in the playoffs right now, bro would set records. Anyways, let's kick it over to Donnie.
Donnie, you got shout outs, man.
I hope that shit gets removed.
That's the opener. What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a big Jaden Daniels fan. Like, going into the draft, I was like, I'm not really like.
Hater. I thought
he was good. I didn't think his game was really going to translate that well to the NFL. Plus, I know he's a smaller guy, so I was like, he might just get fucking broken in half, honestly. But
real quick, that man was taking some crazy ass hits in college. I thought
got smacked. That one out of bounds,
but he kept playing.
He's got heart.
Yeah, and that's the That's the thing.
I remember that was the thing is people were like, that man needs to learn how to slide if he's going to want a lengthy NFL career because the hits in the NFL are going to be even worse.
And he's such a frail guy too. And like for a guy that I don't really have an opinion on him one way or the other, but I respect the fuck out of bro. Like he's kind of a baller. Like I'm kind of mad that he's in the NFC. I'm not going to lie. Like the fact that the Lions are going to have to deal with him for the foreseeable future, because I don't think the Commanders are going anywhere as long as they can keep adding to that
Except
team.
for Washington.
And he's literally like, I think he's Lamar Jackson, except when Lamar came into the league, he couldn't throw the ball for shit. Like Jane Daniels already comes in and he's already got a good arm, and if he can develop into a great arm, like with his legs, he's gonna be fucking crazy. What was I gonna say? I had an extra point. Yeah, if that Bucks Commanders game would have sucked, they might as well go away with Wild Card Weekend. This was the only game that was like, yeah, it's going to be a good game, and it actually fucking delivered. So
I mean, they can't just because like last year the Packers beating the Cowboys. It's like this year was just there were dominant teams, but like last year the Packers beat the Cowboys. It's like, oh, okay, well,
specifically that though, they need to get rid of the 2 versus 7 seed. We do not need 7 teams from each conference making the playoffs. Did you guys know that since they've adapted that, 2 seeds, I guess, are 9-1. The only team, there's only been like
the Cowboys.
Yes, was the Cowboys, but they're notorious for choking in the playoffs.
Packers.
Shout out Jordan Love.
Shout out Jordan Love.
Shout out Mike
That's
McCarthy for throwing that game.
Not only that, but like I think,
we got to talk about that too.
I think a stat that I saw was only 2 or 3 of the 2 versus 7 seeds have been within like a score. Like these, like it's like the Bills this year. They played the Broncos. Last year they played the Steelers, and they're just blowing them the fuck out.
Honestly, actually, shout out Jordan Love because that gave us an extra home game for that playoff run last year.
You know?
It did. It did. You're right.
But moving on to the last game, Minnesota versus the Rams. Everyone was like, the Rams, they're still that team, right? Right? Nah, they lost 4 times on the year. 2 times to the Rams, 2 times to the Lions. Bro just
both in back-to-back weeks.
Bro just hates. Yeah, that's insane. In back-to-back weeks. In the regular season.
I said that last week in my pick. I was like, Lions
insane.
curse coming back.
Like, that is insane. They lost to the Lions and then the Rams. And then they lost to the Lions and then the Rams again. That's like, that is insane. How does that happen?
Nuts.
Like, the Sam Darnold just performs like shit. Anything related to the Lions. It's like, oh, you're playing the Lions. Oh, I can't play good against them. Oh, you're playing Matthew Stafford. He used to play for the Lions. Oh my gosh, even worse. It's like, we just broke that man. That man, he is the Lions. We are his kryptonite, basically. And they looked like shit. He looked like shit. The offensive line was really suspect, to be fair. Like,
he was holding on to the ball way too long.
I don't think you can put every blame on Sam Darnold there, but
I think he gets majority.
Yeah, majority absolutely goes on him.
I didn't watch like any of the first half really. I was like kind of refreshing the score, and it was like 10-3, I think, at one point. And I was like, okay, kind of close game. I'll put this on in a second. In like the 5 minutes it took me to like finish up what I was doing and to go upstairs to put the game on, it was already 24-3. And I was like, what the fuck happened?
It took 25 minutes to go up the stairs.
2 minutes of game time had passed and it was 24-3. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, that game was
that it's not another team outside the Commanders that I don't want the Lions to see is this Rams team right now. They are a fucking unit. Not only
Brother,
because
I hate to break it to
you, Stafford, and that offense is going to do what they do, but like that defense right now is fucking on one. Like, yeah, Sam Darnold kind of turned back into a pumpkin, and fucking that offense went to shit. But like the fact that they got held to 9 points against that Rams team is kind of fucking crazy. See, the difference is like they
got held to 9 points the week before against a mash unit in Detroit, though. So
they came to Detroit.
Yes, the Rams defense has been playing great, but Detroit also held them to 9 points. Let's not forget that. When they came to
Detroit, that was a true away game for them, like a hostile environment. All this. This one was at neutral site, and it was a true like 50-50. Like I like the Rams, and I thought like they were not the better team, but I thought they should win the playoff game. until like everything that happened, the game getting moved, like that's hard for anybody to deal with. Not only are you preparing for a game, but like you have all that going on. So like a neutral site game being.
They were saying yesterday on the broadcast that there was more purple in that stadium yesterday than there was.
Saw a lot of. I saw some Cardinals jerseys. I was like, people were just like, yeah, fuck it, why not?
Oh right.
It was so, like, not only all that going on, but like the Vikings were literally favored. Like they should have won that fucking game, and for them to shit the bed like that when they kind of had a home field advantage, or at least it was a neutral site. Like it was 50-50 truly. So I don't know. It was rough. Like I like Sam, and the NFL's a rough ass business. That man went from you could be one of the highest paid quarterbacks. Are the Vikings going to move on from a top 10 pick for you? Like you threw a wrench.
Man, they were celebrating in the locker room with him after beating the Packers. That was their guy. And then two weeks later, everyone is like, "Get him off my team. Get him off."
They shit the bed against the Lions, and they still had everything left to play for. Like, yeah, it got a lot tougher.
The lights were too bright for Sam Darnold, man. Too bright.
When the world needed him most, he vanished.
I'm going to say this, though. I'm going to say this, and it might be a little bit of a hot take. I like Kevin O'Connell, and, like, I know I've talked on here about, like, he's a really smart coach and all this. Kevin O'Connell, by the Lions game in this last playoff game, and they lost the playoff game to the fucking Daniel Jones-led Giants a couple years back. KOC might be a little bit of a fraud when it comes to the playoffs in these big games, because he played Dan and the Lions twice, and I think Dan thoroughly outcoached.
No way this man can win Coach of the Year now.
I think he could still win Coach of the Year, but this is the
especially
thing.
when you lose to Dan twice.
When they played the Lions and like we beat the shit out of them basically just by fucking cover zero every play, and KOC runs that offense and they did not adjust. Like they should have went from whatever their offense was going into it, whatever their game plan was. Once they see that, hey, they're just all out blitzing every fucking play, why are you not just running like quick slants to Jettas? Just get the ball out of Sam's hand into Addison's and Jefferson's hand and let them do some shit. But like KOC, it was Naylor. Like he was so stuck to his game plan. He was like, no, we're gonna do this no matter what. And they end up losing because of it.
You're the only one that registered.
The Rams followed that same game plan, essentially of just, hey, we're gonna fucking throw everything at Sam Darnold and make you do something. And KOC was still trying to do like long developing plays. It's like you can't, like you have to, like Sam Darnold's gonna be limited at some capacity. Like you got to help him out. And the fact that KOC like couldn't adjust, it's like, I think he's a brilliant coach, but he might not be as good of a coach as what we all perceive him as.
Yeah, and Vikings' last playoff win was with Kirk Cousins at the helm in 2019. That's sad.
Goated. Kirk Cousins is goated.
Shouldn't have moved on. Should have kept him, man.
Yeah, one and only playoff win. Let's mention that.
He's goated, though. The one thing I just want to say, let's not get into a huge discussion about it, is I just want to hear everyone's national championship predictions. National championship will be Monday, so we will have not been recorded. After then, we usually record on Tuesdays now. So I just want everyone's predictions.
OH.
IO.
Well, that's the Buckeyes.
It's me and Colin. That's me and Colin's predictions.
The real national champions are technically going to be your back-to-back Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Not only are they the last undefeated team to win a national title, they're the only team that's going to beat Ohio State.
A team that lost.
Oregon also beat them. Does Oregon get a share of this national title?
No, because they lost in the playoffs to them. So
if Michigan played them again and they lost, then
just a heads up, by the way, because if we're going off that, actually last year I know the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, but the Raiders actually beat them in the regular season. The Raiders have been announced as your Super Bowl.
I was about to say the Lions did.
The Lions should be the Super Bowl.
No, the Raiders, because they beat them later in the year.
No,
and they beat them by more. Give me the Raiders are national championships if we're going off that.
No.
But yes, I'm absolutely going Ohio State. Fun. I love it. It does.
I can't stand Notre Dame, so I gotta go Ohio State.
I do love that Ohio State's gonna win a natty the year after Michigan State or Michigan just won their natty. That is the funniest thing to me. I know that Michigan beat them, but I think it is so like Michigan was on such a high from them like upsetting the shit out of them.
That's just what I don't know if it was
so wild.
I just don't understand how the fuck they let that happen, and now they're in the national championship game. This Ohio State team that's playing in this national championship game should have beat Michigan by like a million. It should have been like 50-0 at half. Like, what are we doing?
I saw someone said the national championship is going to be a team that lost to a 7-5 Michigan team, and then
the other teams lost to NIU.
Yeah, NIU. Like the 12
also beat Bowling Green actually.
So you know what, powerhouse win right there. You know, or loss. But
remind me of that game.
Either way,
maybe Notre Dame will win this game. Actually,
Ohio State can win this title. That's fine. Ours was more impressive. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we beat all of our rivals.
It's more impressive by far last year.
I don't know.
Undefeated, beat our rivals.
I don't know about that.
Got Saban to retire.
Made the greatest coach of all time in college retire. Yeah, ours was more impressive.
Yeah.
Maybe the run that you guys got there, I will absolutely agree. I don't know about the team. Give me current Notre Dame over fucking Washington.
No.
So the run, I'll agree with, but the actual team, I'm absolutely taking.
They beat Bama in the first round.
Donnie, who are you taking?
I said in the group chat, I hope a fucking meteor hits the stadium. That would be my pick if I
could. Gun to your head,
who
are you picking?
Just do this, Donnie. Just do this. That's who's winning right there. Just do that.
What's that?
Ryan Branch.
Other hand. Ryan Day eats corn the long way.
Ryan Day.
Now,
I was looking at Dallas. It's just like Brian Branch.
I know. I was looking at. I was like, what the fuck?
This is what
Brian Branch.
I don't like either team, but I don't think Notre Dame is that good. So I think Ohio State is literally going to win by like 70. But again, I don't really give a fuck because
you're a big Ryan Day fan. We all know.
I'm not. What pisses me off about Ohio State is they should have done this all year. Like Colin said, they should have beat Michigan by 100. And the fact that they didn't.
The Oregon loss wasn't that bad because it was on the road across the country, night game. Like that was a great game. It was back and forth. Like, it happens, you know. Whatever.
I was watching that game.
And they came out in their Rose Bowl and they obliterated them. So like, but that Michigan loss, man, what were they doing?
I do just love pissing off Michigan fans, honestly, more than
I don't want to start a debate, but I kept seeing in the media that like the playoffs was a success. It did what it's supposed to do because neither of these teams would have been in the playoff last year. So like we got the two best teams. Fuck that. Neither of these teams deserve to be in the playoff. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You got a 2-loss OSU. It's not that they lost 2 games. It's like they lost to Michigan. They should have been booted.
So who like because Oregon, I feel
not
like
Bama, not Bama in there.
If Notre Dame,
then who deserved the natty?
The Michigan State Spartans were snubbed from the playoffs.
Notre Dame.
We're taking way too long on this.
Notre Dame could have lost a game, but the fact that they lost to NIU and got in, and they're not.
That was their one loss. That was their one loss all year.
Notre Dame should be barred from making the playoffs until they join a conference. That's my fucking take on it. But
I did appreciate that none of the top 4 seeds made it past their first round. That was my favorite thing because I was real worried that they were gonna obliterate their opponent and then it was just gonna be chalk the rest of the way anyway.
Boise State got their fucking pockets ran.
They definitely need to tweak this system. They need to change.
I think they need to reseed after the first.
I think I love 12-team playoffs. I think they need to change how they do it. But anyways, moving on. We'll move on to some of the coaching stuff that's been going on in the NFL. One of the big things I think that everyone's on everyone's mind right now is Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys have parted ways from the Cowboys.
Have never been more confident in anything in my life than the fact that Mike McCarthy is about to be a Bear.
Okay. All right.
That man is
confirmed. You heard it here first live on the Pokemon podcast that Mike McCarthy will be a New Orleans Saints head coach.
Alan works for the media, so he's definitely going to the Bears. He's got the inside scoop.
But Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys part ways, and
there's a
lot of news that he is either going to the Bears or the Saints. And then there has also been some news that Coach Prime Deion Sanders has been in talks with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys about that job. But the Cowboys have said that they're going to do their due diligence and obviously interview other head coaches. I know either Ben or Aaron is from Texas, I believe. One of them's from Texas, so I'm not sure which one. But there's a lot of good head coaching candidates. You got both Lions coordinators. I know you got the Vikings. Brian Flores is out there. There's so many. I was about to say Mike Vrabel, but he just got hired. But there's a lot of good candidates. So it'll be a little difficult, I feel like, for him to land a job. But I mean, maybe they trade up to 1 and get Shador. That'd be wild. Trade Dak. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna get for Dak, but didn't they just pay him?
They did.
Yeah. They paid him, and I think they give him a no trade. So they are going to be cooked if they want to move off from that man.
Yeah.
My 2 things with the Cowboys is, 1, Jerry Jones is just a fucking idiot.
He's awful. He's so stupid.
Not even the fact that he moved on. Them taking up till today to do it was huge. Not only because of, like, you're just talking to Mike McCarthy for what fucking reason? Like, apparently they offered him a deal, and the only reason they didn't accept it was because they were off on years. Like, the Cowboys wanted to give him like a 2-year deal, and he wanted a 5-year deal or whatever. So like, they're basically giving him a shit offer, which is whatever. I wouldn't give him.
Not to interrupt you, Donnie, but does anyone know who David Shaw is?
That sounds familiar.
Because the Bears just completed a head coach interview with him, and I was like,
he probably coaches like middle school football in the middle of fucking Arkansas or something. They're interviewing literally everybody in the world. So
David Shaw is being interviewed for their head coach position. He's the senior personal executive for the Denver Broncos. What are we doing?
Dude, I love that the Bears are in the NFC North. I love
What are we doing? He's been the senior personal executive for 1 season, and the Broncos are mid. And he's an executive.
It was a head coach interview?
Yes, and literally from Schefter 2 hours ago, the Bears have completed a head coach interview with David Shaw. And by the way, Bro was the head. Oh, okay. Bro was the head coach for Stanford from 2011 to 2022 for 11 years.
Some head coaching.
Yeah, he does. But for Stanford
wasn't really a powerhouse between 2011 and 2022, though. So
they were good in the early 2010s.
Yeah, they won the Pac-12 3 times. That's the only.
Lost to Michigan State in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, they did.
I remember those fucking deflated ass footballs.
Yes, the footballs
fucking Dunhams. I remember that. Oh my god, fucking seared into my brain.
Those are probably still on the shelves.
They probably are. They're probably 97 cents.
I was gonna say they're marked down to like 10 cents at this point.
They're just
Scott's
giving
like,
them away.
someone buy these.
They're just giving them away. People are just, nah, I don't want it.
He's just gonna wait till the next little kid comes and just give it to him. He's like, please take this. I don't want it.
I know we had talked about it. Obviously, we all kind of assumed that Vrabel would be the head coach of the Patriots, but Mike Vrabel has been hired as the head coach for the Patriots. It was kind of expected, but I know we talked about it a little bit, but thought I would just, point it out there that we didn't know last week if that was going to be a for sure thing, but it did get breaking news. I think if any guy could step in and hopefully take over that role, they got a lot to do, and they need a GM. They need a GM that's going to be active because they need people. They need wide receivers. They need a running back. They need some offensive line. Their defense is decent, but they need defense. Jelani Tavai is still their starting linebacker, by the way. So yeah, they've got a lot, but. To be fair, I think Drake May is a pretty decent quarterback. I think Vrabel, he's got a lot to work with. Honestly, it's crazy to say enough. I like Drake May, but someone needs to give this man Joe Milton a shot. Like, I know that's like getting on topic of the head coaching jobs, but this man Joe Milton is a dog. Like, he really is. And this man has got crazy accuracy, and his arm is insane. Did you see he threw in that last game of the season? He threw like a top 3 fastest pass ever thrown in NFL history. Like, it was something like, I think it was the 2nd fastest pass ever thrown or something like that. I thought that was insane.
He's got crazy talent.
Other than that, not too much going on. We'll see a lot happen after the offseason, but Mike McCarthy is now on the head coaching block for everybody except the Cowboys, obviously. The Bears, they'll probably bring in, someone crazy. They might bring Jim Leland in from the Detroit Tigers, old management. Honestly, they're just weird. So, Donnie, I don't think there's any really big news. Obviously, there's always small stuff, but I was just kind of looking through some of the breaking news this week, so haven't really seen anything else we can touch on. So unless I'm missing something, so Donnie, I know you had a couple things you wanted to talk about.
A couple things we did not bring up. The Eagles in their game, I know we all saw it. AJ Brown, after having, I believe, only one catch, maybe one target, whatever it was, went to the sideline and just started reading a self-help book. I wanted to see what you guys thought of that.
Well, I thought that'd be a good topic until AJ Brown in his interview said that he does it every single game and you guys just don't see. And some of his teammates confirmed he's like, apparently he has that book on hand for every game and he does it every game. And AJ Brown in his interview was very nonchalant. He's like, I do that every game. He's like, it's a certain book that I've read my whole life and it helps me keep peace of mind and it keeps me, calm and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, you guys that's the one time you guys had the camera on me. He's like, I've been doing that almost my whole career. So I was like, oh, all right. Well,
maybe in the locker room, but on the field, I feel like we would have been seeing that.
Well, some of his teammates, I know some, I can't remember who, but there were a couple of people that came out and said, like, yeah, he's had that. So, if that's the case and that's what he has it for, then I will say I'm no man to judge. Like, I know there's a lot of people that have to do stuff football's a lot, man. Some people gotta keep peace of mind and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna sit here and judge him.
I will say I saw a screenshot where he has like passages like highlighted, underlined. So like it's definitely his book. He reads it. I guarantee that. I just feel like we should have been we would have been seeing something like that, especially with the drama, quote unquote, that he's been having all year. I feel like that's something we would have seen by now. Like,
I like AJ Brown and I like the Eagles too, honestly. The thing
if you're about to say that this is some sort of like petty drama, I think you're digging way too deep into this.
No,
I think it's just something that AJ Brown does, and it doesn't seem like it bothers anybody.
When I heard people talk about this, I heard 2 points that I really like. I was like, damn, like I didn't think about that, and that's a really, really good point. One is, do we think that AJ Brown would have done this if he had, say at that point, it was the third quarter, say he had 10 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown? Do we think he's reading a self-help book and like trying to get right mentally if he's having a good game? I don't think so.
I don't think it matters. I think we're digging into something that just doesn't.
And then two, I think I like AJ Brown and I don't like deep wide receivers, but like him reading that book, whether he's done it all year or not, in that situation, I saw somebody compare it to, I don't have any personal experience with this, so don't even start making jokes. But they were like, it's like if you have your wife or girlfriend and they're mad at you and they don't say anything, but you ask them and you're like, hey, like, do we have a problem? And they're like, no, I'm fine. But then they're like passively aggressively doing stuff or like sighing, and you're like, what's wrong? And they're like, nothing. I said nothing's wrong. It's like the fact that he's reading like an inner peace book just so happens when they're not having a good passing attack game and he only has one catch, one target, whatever it was. It's like, it's bringing attention to yourself without like audibly going out and saying something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's something that I don't. If this was week 4 against the Commanders, who gives a fuck?
It's no different to sitting on the sideline, closing your eyes and meditating. In my opinion, people do that all the time.
Again, I think that's fine, but it's not.
If he would have came out and said nothing, if he would have came out and said something smart, but when his interview was so nonchalant, he's like, yeah, I do it all the time. It's just my way to keep peace of mind, man. It's just, I was like, bro, like actually sounded like he was like, you guys are digging into something.
Everybody has their own thing. Everybody has their own thing, and I'm not gonna shit on them. But like, I saw former players like Greg Jennings came out, and he was like, people have not weird, but like their own individual thing that they do. He's like, I have never in my entire football playing career seen somebody bring a book actually out to the sidelines. Like maybe they'll have like a quote or something written on like the wristband. He's like, I've seen that. I've never seen somebody like bring a book and like read it actively on the sidelines. He's like, if I saw that as a player, like I would have 100% said something to bro. Like that is just.
Well, Greg Jennings
it's unique.
Bro's mid.
It's unique. Hey, that's a Western Michigan legend.
I'll touch on it just because we did it for picks last week.
I know my picks were ass.
Donnie's picks were.
Yeah, that was a rough week for you.
I went out on a limb or two because we were all picking the same thing, so I wanted to mix it up a little bit, and I just.
To be fair, I'll give Donnie credit. Me, Colin, and Dallas went 5-1, and Donnie went 3-3. So. To be fair,
what games did you go for?
He picked Broncos. He picked Broncos over Bills, and he picked Tampa Bay over Washington. Was where his bad ones were. So, not terrible, but yep, that's about it. And then we already covered the games. So, Colin, roll us into the long list of picks that we got.
All right, yeah, ton of games this week, guys. So let's go through them real quick. Texans at Chiefs. Chiefs coming off some rest. Texans,
a lot of rest.
Yeah, a lot
of rest for the starters, honestly.
A lot of rest for the Chiefs. Texans we talked about last week coming into that Chargers game. That Texans haven't looked great all year, and then they came out and they steamrolled the Chargers. So I really don't know. I'm gonna lean Chiefs just because it's in Arrowhead, but I think this could go a million different ways, and I'm like Marshall said at the beginning of this episode, I'm not touching this when it comes to like betting this weekend. I'm not touching this game at all.
Yeah, I think Mahomes hasn't played since like Christmas or something like that. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, because he got that injury or whatever, and then sat like the next week, and then obviously week 18 he didn't play.
But the last thing I want to play is a healthy Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes on one leg is good enough to beat you. This man's healthy. I don't want to play this man. CJ has been struggling a bit. The Chiefs take advantage of turnovers and teams that don't score touchdowns on offense. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I feel confident about it. I don't think the rest is gonna be an issue. But yeah, Chiefs.
Yeah, them sitting so long. Chiefs defense is great. The Chiefs receiving core, I think, is really bad. I think Travis Kelce has been just below average this year, and then they don't really have a starting wide receiver per se. But it's Mahomes in the playoffs, which is dangerous enough. I mean, bro, you could put us four out there, and Mahomes gonna make a play. It's playoff Mahomes. I think it's gonna get a little. Next week is going to be wild to try and pick because the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but with a little lack of weapons, I feel like, and one of those teams we'll talk about in a bit, Baltimore or Buffalo, is going to come out hot from a win against whoever plays who, and it's gonna set up for a rematch either way of Baltimore Kansas City or Buffalo Kansas City, and I think either of those teams can take down Kansas City, but again, still playoff Mahomes. We'll see. They're just a scary team to go out and bet on and pick because we haven't seen that much of them, but it's the Chiefs, and more or less it's Patrick freaking Mahomes and Andy Reid on the same team, and yeah, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Congratulations to him on his third child that he welcomed into the world. Bro's gonna go out and do it. Hey, just I saw it.
His third kid was gonna get a plug right here.
Congratulations, man. Bro's coming in. Bro didn't get to see the first two Super Bowls. That sucks. But yeah, you're not gonna catch me betting against Patrick Mahomes. So I think the Texans. I don't know. I feel like they could put up a fight, and I feel like they'll keep it close. But they haven't, like we just talked about, they haven't looked amazing, and they haven't looked on par. And losing Tank Dell hurt, and Stephon Diggs. So yeah, give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think this one's really interesting. They have this is the second biggest spread. AC is favored by 8 by what I'm looking at right here. But the total is by far the lowest. The total is only 41.5 points. So they're thinking this is going to be like a slow, grinded out game that the Chiefs just like manhandle.
Crazy stat. Chiefs win 40-0.
I think this is going to be a long game. I think both teams are going to kind of try to hold on to the ball and just chew clock. So
we'll be in like the car and entering the stadium while this game's on. Like we won't be sitting down watching it on TV.
We're gonna get to see the fourth quarter of this. So
sometimes they play it in the stadium. I like when they do that.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be I think both teams are gonna try to hold on to the ball. I see it being low scoring. I think the Texans come out and just fucking throttle the Chiefs early, especially means the starters haven't really played in quite a while. But the Chiefs just turn it on the rest of the way. I think Travis Kelce, I think the wide receiver core does suck, but Travis Kelce, I think, has a handful of games left in him to be really well. I thought that at the beginning of the year, and he only really had one really good game pretty much all year. So I think he's kind of safe. I think he has a good amount left in the tank for this playoff run, which they need him to, just like last year. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs pretty convincingly. I don't know if they'll cover, but I think they'll win by a touchdown.
All right, game that we're all obviously going to be super tuned into. You know, you both are going to be at the game, but Commanders at Lions. Monty's back. Terrion Arnold was a full participant in practice again today. So looking like, you know, some pieces are going to be there this weekend. Commanders, I know I sent this graphic in the group chat the other day. Commanders are awful against the run this year. So
they're not going to have a good time against us. Like Gibbs has been crazy enough. You bring back the dynamic.
Gibbs has been crazy enough. You got one-legged Monty who's going to be like, he's probably going to be like 75% what he was pre-injury.
They might go for 300.
That's at least going to be really good, you know?
They're going to go for 600 yards on the ground. They're going to go for 600 yards on the ground, 275 from Monty, 275 from Gibbs, and 50 yards from Jared Goff.
Yeah, I think it's important that the Lions get control of this game early and they're able to just run the ball down the Commanders' defense. But yeah, you know, I've picked against the Lions once all year, and it was the week we were most injured against the Bills. But I'm not going to pick against them this week. Give me the Lions.
No, I definitely think this bye week that we got was what we needed to get right on track. My biggest fear, mobile quarterbacks. We tend to struggle against mobile quarterbacks. And the fact that this Commanders team 3 times has had 3 games where they have not punted the ball or turned the ball over. That scares me, especially since how beat up our defense is, even with the extra bye week of health. We got some bench riders in there starting, so that scares me a little bit. I am still picking the Lions. I think we'll come out, we'll get them to punt the ball. I don't know if we'll get a turnover because, like I said, the Commanders are pretty good at protecting the ball, but I think Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback, might get a little bit more rattled than he was last week, especially being in Ford Field. I'm going with the Lions.
Much needed break after coming off a heater of a game. We got a nice little bye week. With the early bye week we got in the season, players probably really enjoyed that. Big day for Detroit, city of Detroit. I saw they moved the Pistons game up, the Pistons Suns game up from 5 o'clock to 4 o'clock to kind of compensate for that just a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's going to be at that game. Not to try and get off track just a little bit, but everyone knows Devin Booker's obviously from Grand Rapids and big Detroit sports fan, even with being on the Suns. He's at Tigers games, at Lions games, but he came out and said, he's like, yeah, I'm so happy it just kind of worked out that way. And he said he was really happy because the game got moved to Saturday, or is on Saturday. And he said, yeah, right after that game, I'm hitting the showers. I'm going right over to the stadium. He said he already got like his shit booked and stuff like that. And he's going to root for the Lions 100%, but it's going to be a huge game. Is Johnny frozen? Oh, you looked frozen.
Sorry, I'm reading.
No, you're good. Yeah, Washington's a scary team. Dallas kind of said it well. They protect the ball very well. They're very good at Jaden Daniels has thrown a lot of safe throws. He's good at just being smart with the football. So who knows? This game can go a lot of ways. Jaden Daniels is very good on his feet. Scary Terry is amazing. They're just an interesting team all around. But Detroit, obviously he's on a roll. We get Monty back, which against a bad run defense just is going to be awesome. As much as we obviously Gibbs has looked like a top 3 running back in football since Monty went out, we've all said it. Monty's just the heart of the team. Like, he needs to be in there with Gibbs, even if Gibbs is probably like a 2 times better. It's just Monty, man. We need him back. And Terran Arnold getting a full practice is good. Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Don't count out. I'm not just saying it's going to be an easy win or anything. They're a great team, and Jane Daniels is a special guy. But I think the Lions go out and get the dub here, and we move on to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, the history kind of scares me a little bit. I don't know if you guys have seen this stuff.
Last time we played the Commanders, I believe we beat them because I was at that game.
Yeah,
2022, week 2.
It was also with Carson Wentz at quarterback, so I think Hutch had 4 fucking sacks that game. So let's probably not gonna happen again. But no,
well,
in recent
can't because he's not playing. But
neither is Carson Wentz.
Yeah, Carson Wentz ain't playing either.
But no, in recent history, quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks to win a playoff game on the road, history does not actually bode well for the Lions in this stat. So last few guys done it. Obviously, Jane Daniels just done it this year. So we'll see. Who knows how that happens? C.J. Stroud did it last year, beat the shit out of the Browns. Actually, I believe that was a home game. Yeah, it was supposed to be road game. I was wondering why it was pulling up people that I didn't have associated with this. But the last couple of guys to do it, Russell Wilson did it in 2012, and he ended up losing by a field goal to the Falcons to go to the NFC title game. And then we have Mark Sanchez, who went to back-to-back conference championships in the AFC. We all know that. Joe Flacco, I believe, lost in the championship. He won 2, lost in the conference championship. Big Ben won, lost in the conference championship barely. So history says that rookie quarterbacks on the road, if they win 1, like, it's going to be competitive the next game, or they might win the next game. So the history isn't really on the Lions side with that, given that all was a long time ago. So maybe it means nothing, but I thought it was worth bringing up. This is the biggest spread, and I'm not going to lie, I don't see how the Lions could cover. I think a couple of things don't bode well for them. I think the weaker rest was great for the defense, but we're not getting enough defensive guys back for it to make like a huge impact. I think the biggest impact it could have is throwing the offense off a little bit, because a lot of offenses will get rusty if you give them time to not be playing. So I think it's going to be kind of the same, like I said, about the Chiefs coming out rusty. I could see us coming out rusty in this game. What Dallas brought up, 3 games, no punts, no turnovers. That's terrifying. The fact that the 2 games we lost this year were with quarterbacks that are either very mobile in Josh Allen or somewhat mobile in Baker Mayfield, and now we're facing Jane Daniels, who is a younger version of Lamar. That scares the shit out of me. So it's going to be one of those games where the Lions either need a historic defensive performance like we got against the Vikings, or we got to force a turnover or 2. Another thing, the Commanders, when they faced the Bucs, a big reason they won that game is the Bucs only had 44 offensive snaps. Baker, I think, got to throw the ball 16 times, which, like, if you want to beat the Lions, what's going to be the textbook way to do it? Don't let the offense have the ball. So if the Commanders can kind of just strangle us out and the offense doesn't really get a rhythm, if it takes them 20 snaps to get going and we only have 50 snaps, like, the Commanders could easily win this game with the way Jane Daniels is playing. So all that worries me. But it is a rookie quarterback away on the road in a hostile environment.
I was just saying, none of those quarterbacks back then had to play in Ford Field. All right.
Yeah, I think our offense, while I said it could come out rusty, I think there's so many things that, like, we have so many mouths we could feed that it helps in the rust department. Like, if Amon-Ra's not having a good game, maybe J-Mo gets going. If J-Mo doesn't get going, we got Tim Patrick. If the passing game is doing shit, we just run the ball with two top 10 backs in the backfield. Honestly, as long as the O-line comes out and isn't
Reynolds and Jamar Jefferson.
I believe the Commanders have like the 28th or 30th defense by DVOA, which is like a total defense statistic. So as long as that O-line shows up and just doesn't get their ass beat, I think the Lions should be able to win. Like Marshall said, I either see a close win one way or the other, or I see the Lions beating them by 40. I don't think that's super realistic, but well, it's realistic if they saw the "We Want Detroit" chant from the Commanders fans. If Dan saw that, this might be like 74-2. Like this might be fucking
calling a shot 74-2.
74-2 would be crazy.
Origami.
But no, I'm gonna go with the Lions. But the people that are like very excited that we drew the Commanders, I think need to take a deep breath. The Commanders are very, very formidable. I can see Daniels, I think, is gonna give us trouble, but I still see us pulling.
I think that was probably the better draw for this round, though.
I mean, yeah, they're probably
maybe the Vikings might have been.
I was hoping to get
the
Chiefs
Packers.
round one.
Honestly, Packers would have been really good.
I think they're the worst team left.
I guess I just wasn't. I knew the Packers weren't going to win that game, so I guess
I was hoping to draw the Titans.
Shut the fuck up. I think the Commanders are the worst team left. But like once you get down to this point in the year, like every team's good, so it's kind of like I don't know. It's the best, but I still don't love it.
Before we move on, I just wanted to say, what are your kind of over-under lines for how many fourth down attempts there are going to be this game? Because both of these coaches like to go for it on fourth down.
This is going to be the most Madden football game of all time.
Great question. Nobody goes for it on fourth down.
There's not a single fourth down.
The biggest turnaround in history.
They need to put that in.
I was gonna
say that needs to be a prop bet in some.
I saw in the Steelers Ravens game that the Steelers were down by like a touchdown and a half, and it was fourth and inches at midfield, and they didn't go for it. I said, I don't care what team you are. I don't care if you're the freaking Jaguars. That is insane that we are not going for a fourth and inches when you are down in like the third quarter. That is wild.
To be fair, the Steelers defense might score as much as their offense does. So maybe having the defense out there isn't the worst idea in the world.
Obviously not, because Lamar fucking beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're
all right. Moving on to Sunday, Rams at Eagles. The more I think about this game, the more I'm like, this might be interesting.
These games are going to be bangers.
That Rams defense is kind of legit right now, and I think if they're able to like at least kind of contain Saquon, this could be a game.
I was like, is Gong gonna make his pick?
I'm thinking at home though. I think I'm going to take the Eagles. I think I'm going to take the Eagles.
I'll pick the tie.
That would be crazy.
It's not possible, but you can pick it.
Playoff history.
It's not possible, but you can pick it.
Yeah.
Tie. Detroit just gets to go to the Super Bowl.
That'd be crazy.
Can't win. Another bye week.
I think just because it's at home, across the country for the Rams playing out in the cold, I think I'm going to take the Eagles, and we get a Lions-Eagles NFC Championship.
Yeah. Both defenses honestly have been doing pretty well. The Rams' run defense isn't as good as their pass defense, in my opinion. Josh Jacobs still did his thing, and Saquon is significantly better than Josh Jacobs. I think Saquon will be the X factor in this game for sure. I think the Eagles will do a great job of controlling the pace, the time of possession, being at home, and Jalen Hurts finds a way to win. He's a winner, whether you hate him or not. He's a winner, especially in NFL, college. He finds a way to win. I like the Eagles, and my matchup of the day for that is Cooper Kupp versus Cooper DeJean. Who's the better white guy on this field?
Cooper DeJean's holding him to 0 receptions for 0 yards and 20 targets.
I cannot wait to see that fucking game, dude.
But no,
that whole matchup.
I like the Eagles defensively, and then I just love Saquon. I just like Saquon against this Rams defense, so I'm gonna go Eagles.
The Eagles team, I mean, it wasn't They looked good, but it wasn't convincing like how bad they beat the Packers. But the script writers are scripting up something wild here. And we saw Stafford in the first round of the playoffs in the wild card round this year. I feel like we're going to see him in the NFC Championship game in Detroit again. I have a feeling this Rams team sneaks out game-winning field goal or something against this Eagles team. And it leaves question on what's going on, if it's Sirianni, if it's Jalen Hurts, if what's going on. And all of a sudden it's like, what's going on? I know I'm in the minority, but I am going with the Los Angeles Rams to beat the Eagles. I think it's going to be a great game, but I just think the Rams will outperform them a drive or two to get that win. So I'm going with the Rams to go back into Detroit. Stafford comes back to Detroit again for the third time in 2 years. And we play, I don't know. I think the Rams are going to take it.
Man, this is going to be such a fucking good game. I cannot wait to watch this game. I like both of these teams. I think both of these teams have a lot going for them. I knew these teams. I know they played earlier in the year, but I couldn't remember what happened. So I'm looking at this box score, and to Dallas's point, I forgot this is when Saquon went for 255. Remember when he had like the 80-yard touchdown when they were already up by like fucking 2 scores? Yeah, that was this game. I did not realize that. When they last played, it was when the Eagles were 9-2, or I guess they were 9-2 after the game, and the Rams were 5-6 after. So this was before the Rams took off and their defense started playing great. But still, Saquon going that fucking crazy is a concern, to say the very least, if you're the Rams.
It is hard to beat a team twice.
It is hard to beat a team twice. Man,
second. Not for the Lions and Rams, apparently.
Yeah, clearly not. But
tell that to the Vikings.
Yeah. That secondary for the Eagles scares me. I think that could be the real difference in this game. If they tighten up, as good as Stafford, Puka, Cooper, whoever the fuck he's throwing the ball to is, I think if that secondary turns it on, it's going to be difficult for them to keep up with Saquon in that run game. I don't know. I'm truly torn on this one. I think this one could go either way. I see the storylines if they play the Lions either way. I see maybe the two best teams in the league with the Eagles and the Lions matching up. I could also see the Lions having to play their previous savior, Matthew Stafford, to earn their first Super Bowl bid. That would be fucking absurd.
Storyline would be crazy there.
It would be the
Donnie's gonna have to take out a fucking mortgage to go to that game.
Could you imagine Kelly Stafford coming back to Detroit for the third time?
No, she's not
to get booed again. Her and the kids. Boom.
And the kids.
Boom.
I don't want to see either of these teams, man. This fucking scares the shit out of me. Both of these teams, I think, could beat the Lions. Like, if they show up.
Shit, the Commanders could beat the Lions. Like,
true.
Everybody's beating
This is where it gets stressful, man. And if you are the team you think you are, you're going to win these games. So,
Colin dropping the knowledge.
They are who we thought they are.
I think the -6 is what Philly is right now. I think that's disrespectful. I think this is a field goal game for sure. The Eagles are so stacked, but they got like a question mark about them, just like all the fucking drama that's happened this year with them. And then the Rams have no drama, but they're not as talented. So
I could also see Matthew Stafford throwing like 3 picks this game. Not gonna lie.
Pulling the old Justin.
Not to rush, but can we pick somebody?
Yeah.
Flip a coin if you got him, my guy.
Fuck it. I'll go with the Rams. Like I said, I think both teams. I truly don't know who's gonna win. I'll go with the Rams just to set up the storyline of all storylines. Matthew Stafford versus the Lions one last time. Yeah, I'll go with
one last time until next year.
Ravens at Bills.
This is gonna be a game.
Man, it's even harder to pick than the last one.
This is probably the best game out of all of them for sure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put too much thought into it. Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, I think this Ravens team's significantly better than the Bills. I'm gonna go Ravens for sure.
I have zero clue. I really don't know. This game is wild.
It could easily go.
It's in Buffalo.
Either way for me.
It's
Like,
only -1's the spread. I think Buffalo's favored by 1 point.
Nope. Right now on
Baltimore.
FanDuel, it is Ravens favored at 1.5.
Oh.
On FanDuel.
ESPN bet has Bills -1 in that game.
Which shows how freaking close this is. I don't know. It's in Buffalo. The Bills could shit the bed, but they could also get hot. The Ravens haven't really shit the bed.
If we want to look at like we did for the Eagles Rams, if you want to look at what happened earlier in the year, week 4, the Ravens beat the brakes off the Bills 35-10, and Derrick Henry went for 200 yards in that game. So, I mean, if you want to go by what they last did, the Ravens really fucking rolled them. That was when the Bills were undefeated.
Yeah,
and
I'm going with 3 out of the 4 teams that were in the championship games last year being in the championship game this year, being Chiefs, Detroit, and the Ravens.
Yeah, I think this one's obviously going to be a great game. I think both Sunday games are going to be fucking immaculate. I'm glad we get to just kind of sit down and watch them all. Man. This one's tough. I don't think it's tough as Rams Eagles though. I think the Ravens, if they're gonna get it done, I think this is the year. I think it's destiny for them to see the Chiefs again, to see if they can right the wrongs of last year in their play calling and all that shit that they kind of melted down for. So yeah, give me the Ravens to go back to Arrowhead.
Dallas ended off with some trivia.
Man, it's been a while since we did like actual trivia.
Oh, or you actually got trivia?
Yeah, I got some trivia.
All right.
So, fun
doing
fact.
a lot of wheel spins and stuff and all the touchdown things. I did see the guy that was going around doing the touchdown wheel thing, and I was like, and I started watching them. Like off topic, I started watching some of those videos. People have no ball knowledge. I'd be seeing some wild things. Like someone got the worst
That's
one.
me.
It's Colin. I wish Colin was
It's just Colin's TikTok.
Fucking the one that outraged me the most was bro needed the touchdowns and spun the wheel and he got the Cardinals and he had 2 wide receiver spots left. And bro went, Marquise Brown, he played for the Cardinals, right? And he's like,
yeah.
I didn't know. And he was
I'm at least not that bad.
I was like,
are you sure?
Someone say Larry Fitz. And I was like, please say Larry Fitz. He's like, Marquise Brown. And then bro proceeded to go, I remember Robbie Anderson played for them for a little bit. I said that I shut off my phone.
I feel a little bit smarter every time I watch one of those.
I was
videos.
like, I don't care.
Man.
I was like, I don't care what. I was like, just please say Larry Fitzgerald. Bro did not at all, but
That's crazy.
that shit was wild. Go ahead.
Podcast equipment used to be more expensive.
Yeah.
Man. All right. So, fun fact: Josh Allen became the Bills' franchise leader in postseason passing touchdowns this last week. So it got me curious. I was like, man, Josh Allen, like. I'm like, Jim Kelly went to the Super Bowl like 4 years in a row. Like, how it like
and lost all 4.
Well, lost all 4, but I'm like, this man had to.
I know.
I
love saying that. I love saying that.
It blew my mind that he was already the franchise leader in passing touchdowns in the postseason. So it got me down the rabbit hole of looking at every NFL team's franchise leader in postseason touchdowns passing. So we're gonna go through every NFL team, figure out who is the all-time leader in postseason passing touchdowns. We're going to start with the NFC North, the Detroit Lions.
This is so tricky.
I feel like it's not true at all.
I think
Dallas started with the Lions for a reason.
Well, I have it listed by NFC North, like, and then whoever.
And then it's just in the order
of the standings. Really, that's how I put it.
Yeah.
We can take turns going first, Colin, if you want to go first for this one.
I feel like it's got to be Stafford, right?
I'm also just gonna go Stafford.
I'm going Bobby Lane.
All right. It is not Matthew Stafford, and it is not Bobby Lane. It is Eric Kramer with 5 passing touchdowns.
That's wild. Jared Goff's gonna break that this year.
You are shitting me. 5 touchdowns?
Jared Goff's breaking that this year.
Jared Goff has 4. Jared Goff has 4.
He needs 1 touchdown to tie that.
How many did Bobby Lane have? Bobby Lane went to like 5 championship games. Like, how the fuck did he not have it?
Well, a lot of those.
So you're telling me that in one postseason trip with the Lions, Jared Goff has matched all of Matthew Stafford's postseason success with the Lions.
I mean, Goff
succeeded because he won a game.
Well, right. You know what I mean. In terms of production.
Yes.
Okay, Colin. Well, this is the thing. Goff has played 3 postseason games. Matthew Stafford played 3 postseason games. So it's not like Stafford played 10 games and Goff played 3.
And Stafford was here for 11 years and Goff was here for 3.
Okay, you can argue that, but they still played the same.
I guess that's true.
Colin was acting like, bro, he played like 47.
It just felt like it felt like there should be a higher number.
Should have went tomorrow. I give you that, but still.
So yeah, Eric Kramer with 5 passing touchdowns is the franchise leader for the Lions.
That's crazy. At 5.
It was either that or Sean Hill.
And I will say that is the lowest total. Oh, I lied. Really? That's the second lowest. Second lowest.
Oh shit.
Oh, is that the second?
It's gotta be the. No, not the Texans, because they've made some postseason.
It's gotta be the Texans, I would think.
Jags. There's no way not the Jags.
All right. Moving on.
Trevor's only made it 1 year.
Minnesota Vikings.
Oh God.
It's gonna take a long time to read this.
I'll go first if you want. But I feel like I have.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, it's.
I'll go. I was gonna say Dante Culpepper.
Not bad. I was gonna say Fran Tarkington. I know they made.
I'm a ride with Marshall.
It is Fran Tarkington with 11 passing touchdowns.
Damn.
I knew he didn't throw the ball that much, but like they went to the playoffs a lot back then. So like you think.
The Green Bay Packers.
This is kind of tricky.
This one is tricky. I was thinking about this the second we started with NFC North. The Packers were the first one I was going to.
But I'm going.
There's only 2. It's just who are you going with?
Right. Yeah.
I'm going with Aaron Rodgers.
I'm also going to go A-Rod.
I'm going to go with Brett Favre. I feel like Brett Favre is in the playoffs for honestly.
It is Aaron Rodgers with 45 passing touchdowns.
There were some really high-powered offenses.
I did that mainly because you guys both went A-Rod.
There was one game Aaron Rodgers, I think, had like 5 touchdowns. Like
that's crazy.
He's only got considering Detroit's record is the championship round every fucking year.
I was gonna say there was that stretch where they made it to the NFC Championship for like 3 straight years.
Yeah,
didn't win a single Super Bowl.
The Chicago Bears.
Fuck Christ.
Dog, I don't even fucking know.
I know.
I can honestly only name like a handful of Bears quarterbacks anyway.
I want to see what
Colin doesn't even know. This man Colin doesn't even know.
I'm gonna just copy somebody else on this one, honestly.
No, you gotta go first.
No, I'm not going first on this one. Mitch Trubisky. No, that's not my answer.
That's his guess. Marshall. Picking up the answer.
Colin. I feel like you gotta go first though.
Why?
Because I feel like you're gonna copy somebody.
I am gonna copy somebody.
He said Mitch Trubisky.
That wasn't a serious answer.
I was gonna go.
Give a serious one.
I'm going Jim McMahon.
I'm also going Jim McMahon.
I'm also going Jim McMahon.
Colin said, "Yo, guys, it's funny enough."
With 4 passing touchdowns in the postseason.
4 passing touchdowns.
I think that was in one postseason.
Tied together is Jim McMahon and Rex Grossman.
Oh, I thought Colin was about to get Mitchell Trubisky.
I was gonna say if it had been Mitch, I would have.
Trubisky had 3.
Trubisky had 3. That really would have been a bad pick.
I forgot Rex Grossman existed. Not gonna lie.
All right, moving on to the NFC South, starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Is this just the time they were on the Bucs, or is this like all
time?
Like, no, I meant like
just for that team, just for that franchise.
Okay, I was gonna say like.
Yep.
I was gonna say, well, then this one's obvious. Oh God,
that opens it up. Then. Colin. Look at that look. Like he's thinking of something actually gonna be. Colin, just get fucking.
Dog, I can name you 2 Tampa Bay quarterbacks off the top of my head right now.
I guarantee it's one of them.
Come on, man.
Is it still Brady?
I'm gonna go Doug Williams.
I'm only thinking 2 guys. It's gotta be Brady. It has to be.
It is Tom Brady with 15.
Okay, cool.
15.
Literally, the two that I could think of were Tom Brady and Jameis. So I was like, it's not Jameis.
Jameis is wild.
I was thinking, I thought Steve Young, Tom Brady, and then I thought Baker. And I was like, there's no way it's Baker.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be.
It is Matt Ryan with 20.
Damn.
The Carolina Panthers.
Bryce Young.
That'd be 0.
Count it. That's
In 10 years? Yeah.
In 10 years?
Give me give me Cam Newton.
I want to go Cam, but I feel like he didn't throw that many touchdowns.
Oh, and
But I don't know any.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who else it could be.
Colin's like, I don't know if it's Cam, but I don't have another guess.
Right, so Cam Newton.
guys fucking need one that led them to the Super Bowl. I can.
It was LeBron James.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cam mainly because I can't remember the other guys for sure.
It was not Cam Newton. It was
it Jake Delhomme?
Jake Delhomme with 12.
I couldn't remember if the guy's name was Jake Delhomme or if it was something else. God damn it.
Yep, Cam had 10 passing touchdowns. Jake Delhomme had
I didn't
12.
know that man existed until just now.
He's the one who took him to the Super Bowl against the Patriots in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm saying. I knew you guys forgot about that. I was like, I just can't remember, bro.
No, I knew him. I just didn't think. I thought Cam had more.
This one should be easy. The New Orleans Saints.
Drew Brees! Drew Brees!
Hey, give
It would have been absolutely wild if Colin's like, Arch Manning?
Yeah,
It's like Arch Manning.
Yeah, it's Drew Brees.
Give it 10 years. Spencer Rattler will be on the
Shut
show.
up.
But for right now, it
He
is.
won't even be on the roster.
Taysom Hill, actually.
Give me Drew.
Yep, Drew Brees with 35. Moving on to the NFC East, you have the Philadelphia Eagles.
Give me. Ooh. Donnie's gonna say Carson Wentz. Honestly, Nick Foles has got to be on that list somewhere.
I was going to use it as a joke answer, you motherfucker.
Colin's got nothing but joke answers. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, Colin, you can go first.
Yeah, give me Michigan State legend Nick Foles.
Okay, I'm gonna go Donovan McNabb.
I'm also going to give a real answer and go Donovan McNabb. What the fuck are we on?
It is Donovan McNabb with 24 passes.
Just out of curiosity, do you have like a full list for each team, or do you just have the leader?
If
I
he
just
has
have the
like 10
leader.
down, if he has like 10 down to Nick Foles, I wouldn't be pissed. Let's be clear. If he went that far, like no.
No, I just have the leaders. I remember some of the ones that were like close. Like I memorized that like Cam had 10 and stuff like that.
He had 2 postseason runs with the Eagles, so he can't only be like. But it's like, yeah, so
it was either Donovan McNabb or an old head motherfucker like Norm Van Brocklin in the fucking 60s.
I was actually thinking of Randall Cunningham for a little bit, but
Yeah, maybe.
The Washington Commanders
just the Commanders
and or Redskins.
Oh,
What about football team?
yeah, Taylor Heineke in that one game.
Technically, that would be the record for the Washington football team.
I don't know if he threw a touchdown. I think he only ran that one in where he dived to the pylon.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing, truthfully. Pass. Or copy somebody else.
Make a guess.
I don't have one.
You gotta quit copy. Okay, then you can't keep copying me and Marshall because we're actually giving the right answer.
Are we keeping track?
Yes, I'm keeping track.
Marshall is keeping track.
I had no idea. I thought.
All right,
Colin's in last. Colin's in last. Fuck it. I don't know what the score is. He's in last.
Colin,
I don't have one.
I'm gonna go.
Colin,
Go ahead. I'm gonna go Joe Theismann.
Joe Theismann. Oh, I'm gonna say Doug Williams.
It is Joe Theismann with 11.
I said Doug Williams earlier and you let me down, so I couldn't say it again.
But I knew when you said that, I was like, I think Doug Williams played longer for the Redskins than he did the Bucks. But
The Dallas Cowboys.
ooh, this one.
Troy Aikman.
This is kind of tough.
I'm going Troy Aikman. I don't think Tony Romo was there enough.
Yeah. No, legit. I was thinking Romo, but you brought up Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Thank you for persuading me off of Tony Romo because I was going to go Tony Romo.
This man Colin needs to go unlimited first.
Oh.
Too fucking bad. I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
Give it Troy
right.
Aikman.
Oh my god.
it's fucking crazy. I just feel like it's not Troy.
Call him out.
Go Romo.
Oh, Dak Prescott.
It's not fucking Romo. It might be Dak, but I doubt it. It's either gonna be Aikman or it's gonna be Starback, and I'll go. Fuck. I'll go Aikman.
Watch
but
it be Prescott.
I'm so confident that it's Roger Starback, but I'm gonna go Troy.
All right, Donnie, it was Staubach with 24 passing touchdowns.
That's
I knew it, man. I knew it. Fuck.
The New York Giants.
And I was wrong.
Eli.
Fuck.
Eli Manning.
Give me Eli.
It is Eli Manning with 18.
While this man crashes out.
God damn it.
And then the NFC West, starting with the Rams.
I'll go Warner.
I'm gonna say Kyle. Colin, if you can't get this one.
Kyle, hurry your ass up. Give me Kurt Warner.
Yeah, it's got to be Kurt Warner.
It is Kurt Warner with 15, but Stafford has 13.
I was going to say, I knew Stafford was going to be close.
Stafford's right there.
That's the only reason I thought about it for a second.
Yeah, I guess Stafford did have like fucking 10 or 11.
Is that including this last night's game or like a couple nights ago? Okay.
Yep. So,
Dallas is like, this is actually false information.
as of the making of this video, he's got 13.
I think he had 10 or 11 just last year. So, I mean, yeah, I think he only threw 1 or 2 yesterday.
Next up is the Seahawks.
Got to be Russ, right?
Yeah. I don't want to overthink it, but
I was waiting for Colin to break out a fucking Jim Zorn.
yeah, give me Russ.
It's got to be Russ.
It is Russell Wilson with 25.
I would have broke out a Jim Zorn. Yes.
The Arizona Cardinals.
Colin gets to go first on this one.
Yeah.
He has no fucking idea. I was gonna say fucking Josh Rosen.
Shout out.
Shout out, Josh
Rosen. Oh, shout out for Josh.
Somehow he was the only quarterback from the 2018 class that did not survive the league for more than like 2 years. Oh man, that was crazy.
So crazy how you haven't guessed it.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yes.
Colin, come on.
Carson Palmer.
Okay, I'm also going Carson Palmer.
I'm gonna go Kurt Warner.
With 16 passing touchdowns. It is Kurt Warner.
Let's go.
Really? Damn.
And
Kurt
then,
Warner's got to be the only guy to be in the league for 2 different teams.
well, we haven't gone to the AFC.
I was about to say,
I was gonna say, brother. What are we saying?
I wonder who the Patriots is.
49ers.
Joe Montana.
I was just saying it's got to be Montana.
Oh,
Part of me feels like it's Steve Young.
that's what I was just thinking. I'm gonna stick with my Montana. Well, actually, I don't know.
Every time I see like a Steve Young stat, I'm always like, he actually played that long? Like,
I'm gonna stick with Montana though.
I mean, you might as well just go Steve Young.
Colin's trying to catch a lead on him. Okay, go with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, there you go.
does this count Super Bowl? That might be a stupid question, but does this count the Super Bowl?
Yep.
It is a playoff game, yes.
Yep, postseason.
Fuck it, I'll go with Steve Young.
It is Joe Montana with 39.
Curious at where
crazy.
I'm curious at where Brock Purdy and Colin Kaepernick are on the list.
It's a very good question.
Not close to the top 2. I'll tell you that.
No, I know that, but like
They might be top 5, 7 range.
the 3 years that the Kaepernick and Niners made those runs.
Jimmy G.
Yeah,
Don't
but
sleep
he
on
was-
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G.
Those
Jimmy
2
G.
years that Jimmy G was good.
Bro,
Shout
Colin
out.
Kaepernick, there's no shot Colin Kaepernick up there just because he was running over motherfuckers in the playoffs. He wasn't throwing the ball that well. He was.
Yeah, that's true.
At the Packers, he had like 200 rushing yards.
I'm gonna throw you.
All right. Heading over to the AFC, starting with the AFC North, the Ravens.
I feel like it's got to be Flacco.
I'm gonna say Lamar.
I'm also gonna say Lamar.
It is Joe Flacco.
No way,
Let's
Colin.
go. Let's go.
So
there's no way Lamar's that far off. Though.
Lamar,
he can't be, no.
So Joe Flacco has 25. Lamar has 8.
No way.
He's been that bad in the playoffs.
Lamar.
That's true. That's true. Ravens in the postseason under Lamar have not been great.
Flacco has a Super Bowl, my man.
I know he has that, but outside of that, he didn't. It's not like he played.
They were consistently in the playoffs.
Yep.
Not that I recall. Goddamn.
I think Flacco's got 2 rings. Honestly, I could be wrong.
He has one
he's
as
just got the one.
No, he's just got the one.
He might have one as a backup or something, but he only has one as a starter.
He's only got one as a starter. I know he does.
So
the first Ravens Super Bowl, I can't remember his name.
Flacco's played 15 games in the playoffs.
And I would never have thought that ever. I would have guessed like 7, maybe.
Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Big Ben.
It's Ben Roethlisberger.
Donnie wants to go Terry Bradshaw here.
I mean, Bradshaw went to 4 fucking Super Bowls, like you would think, even though he hasn't passed the ball. I mean, I'm already down. I might as well go Terry Bradshaw, try to steal a point. He's not going to be it, though.
Yep, you ain't stealing shit. It is Big Ben with 36 passing touchdowns.
I feel like Terry had to have played in more playoff games, though.
It's very
also a
possible.
different era.
True.
It is a different era, but I mean, I'm down, so I kind of just went with the guy who I think played.
I just want to let you know, Donnie, that you are now tied with Colin.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Okay, let's calm down. Colin, you've taken 45 minutes per guess, and every time you steal me and Marshall's answer, so shut the fuck up.
Okay.
How about that? You got Flacco right, and that's it. Calm down.
The Cincinnati Bengals.
Colin gets to go first.
I know there's no way in hell that it's Joe Burrow. But I don't know. Outside of him and Dalton, I don't know any other Bengals quarterback.
I know it's not him, but I don't know who it is.
So who are you going with?
So I gotta just throw Joe Burrow out there because that's the only. Because I know it's not Andy Dalton. There's no way in hell it's Andy Dalton.
I'm gonna go.
Joe Burrow is the better of the 2 guesses there.
After his Joe Burrow guess, I'm gonna go Boomer Eason. I don't think Carson Palmer was on a lot of playoff games in the early 2000s.
Man, Boomer Esiason's not a bad guess. I'm gonna go with Burrow though. I'm pretty sure it's Burrow.
So it is actually a tie with 9 passing touchdowns. Joe Burrow and Ken Anderson.
Damn. All right. Cool.
And for reference, Boomer only had 4.
Now, I don't know if it was Boomer team.
Browns. I feel like this has got to be Baker. It's got to be Baker, right?
Okay. Who even knows one of the Browns next?
Cleveland Browns.
It's got to be Baker. It's got to be.
Okay. It could be Johnny.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going Baker Mayfield. That's fucking sad.
If we're going total Browns history, like before they moved, it's got to be Otto, right? Like he played in so many championship games.
Actually, I'm gonna switch my answer because I don't want to go with Baker. I'm gonna go Tim Couch.
Shout out Tim Couch.
Colin, what was your answer, Baker?
It was Baker.
So Baker, Otto, and Tim Couch. It's none of those. It's Deshaun Watson. With 0.
It's Deshaun Kaiser.
Oh my gosh.
0-16 legend.
Got the league on that.
What are we waiting on here?
Oh, I didn't know if Donnie made his guess or not.
Oh yeah, he guessed Otto Graham.
I didn't know if he was still debating.
Oh
no.
It is not Baker Mayfield. It is not Otto Graham. It's not Mr. Couch. It's Bernie Kosar with 15.
Oh. Yeah, I can see that. 15?
15.
God damn.
The Otto Graham did have 14.
Record is 5, and the Cleveland Browns record is 15.
Well, fucking homeboy, he just said he was the quarterback for the Browns when John Elway went on the drive in the 80s. I think the Browns actually were pretty successful in the 80s, so it makes sense.
Moving on to the AFC South, the Houston Texans.
Sean Watson.
Yeah.
Sean Watson.
It's gotta be Watson.
It's either Watson or Schaub. I
didn't think about that one.
Anytime.
That was a legit one. That was legit. I realized
you could say fucking Peyton Manning for the Texans, and bro be like, "Oh, I forgot he played for the Texans."
Fuck. I just don't think that those early Texans teams win the playoffs that much. I'll go with Deshaun.
So it is actually a two-way tie with 4 passing touchdowns.
What?
You have Deshaun Watson and C.J. Stroud.
Wow. I guess I forgot C.J. has played a couple playoff games.
Next week, C.J. might have that record.
That's
never
know.
This one should be quick. The Indianapolis Colts.
Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Dude,
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, Peyton.
Yep, Peyton with 29 passing touchdowns there. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bortles. Just because of that one
He
year.
was very, very quick with that.
He was quick with that.
I've been waiting for the Jags so I can say Blake Bortles. I'm not even kidding.
I don't know. I don't want to go Bortles. I don't want to go Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to go current Lions quarterback coach, Mark Brunell.
It's Mark Brunell. I was hoping Marshall would forget he existed.
It is Mark Brunell with 10 passing touchdowns.
Mark Brunell was a dog in the late 90s.
We got the Tennessee Titans and or Houston Oilers.
Really kidding. Except he never actually had a passing touchdown.
What the fuck off, Colin?
I didn't think Billy Cannon would sneak into this trivia, honestly.
Colin's got a fucking shoehorn all this
I'm going to
bullshit.
take Aaron McNair. His first name's Steve, by the way. Just let you know.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Marshall.
Colin didn't know that, actually.
Colin's like,
Colin saw the
I do
30
want to give a shout out
to
to Marcus Mariota, who's the only one of their quarterbacks who has a passing touchdown to himself in the playoffs.
Hey, go
Shout out.
That's actually.
I feel like he's got to get like some sort of.
How do you have that kind of ball knowledge? But anything else is just fucking out the window.
Marcus Mariota probably had like a brother or sister's cousin that went to Michigan State. That's the only reason he knew that.
He actually played Michigan State while he was at Oregon.
Shut the fuck up.
He did. He lost.
Yeah, it's either Steve McNair or I know they had a quarterback when they had Earl Campbell in the 70s, but I'm not even trying to guess that motherfucker's name. So yeah, let me get Steve McNair.
It is with 15 passing touchdowns. Warren Moon.
Oh,
really? I would never have guessed he had that many.
Steve McNair only had 6.
What did Vince Young have?
That's a good question. I don't know.
No, don't worry about it. We're already 2 hours into this podcast, so let's...
I don't think they ever made the with this.
Going into the AFC East, Josh Allen, of course, for the Bills. Moving on to the Dolphins. Can't give not giving Colin a free point for the Bills.
Oh my god!
I was gonna say, is this one not a gimme? What the fuck, Colin? I swear to God, if you don't get this, we might have to kick you off the pod.
It's Dan Marino.
It has to be Dan Marino.
Yeah, it's Dan Marino.
It is Dan Marino with 32. I didn't think that one.
I'm gonna be so real for the life of me for a split second.
I don't know. I
could
just
not
feel
remember
like
that motherfucker's name. It was just his face in my brain.
I'm just trying to make sure that the. I'm just trying to. The Dolphins were such a blank in history in the 2000s. I'm just trying to make sure like there's nobody that's just like I play. I knew it was Dan Marino. You never know.
The New York Jets.
New York Jets.
This one's gonna have a tough answer, guys. No matter who the fuck it is, this one's gonna be ugly.
Dude, I have no fucking clue.
Go Rodgers. Go Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers carrying all of his Green Bay touchdowns over to the Jets.
I have like 3 answers.
I'm gonna own the fact that I have no answer for this one. Just give me no point for this one.
I'm gonna debate my answers out loud because I know Donnie knows who they are. I actually have 4. Mark Sanchez, Chad Pennington, Vinny Testaverde, and Joe Namath are all the ones I'm trying to decide between. But who do I think had the most?
Vinny, we can think it through together. Vinny was too much of a journeyman. It's not him. I think Chad Patton was Chad Pennington was also too much of a journeyman. Don't think it was him.
I'm gonna go Joe Namath.
Namath, I think, was Ash.
Right after he says, "I'm gonna go with Joe Namath."
So
you going Sanchez then?
I'm gonna ride
Is
Joe
that the
Namath.
only name you haven't said?
What's the saying, Marshall?
I think it might be Mark fucking Sanchez. I think it's Mark Sanchez.
With 9 passing touchdowns. It is Mark Sanchez.
That's crazy.
How many Joe Namath have?
Probably like 3.
We do not put enough respect on Rex Ryan's name. They went to back-to-back AFC championships with Mark Sanchez. God.
Holy shit, man.
That's incredible.
Yep, Joe Namath had
Ain't no way he said 3 on the dot.
Yeah, Joe Namath did
I
have
just
3.
looked it up.
And then
With a passer rating of 54.
yeah,
Damn. Thought he was right.
He was in 3 games too.
the New England Patriots
I'm ready.
Tom Brady.
with
Hey, guys.
73 passing touchdowns in the postseason.
Holy shit.
73.
How many
Bro
did
good or
Drew
something?
What?
Bledsoe- How many did Drew Bledsoe have? Fucking 2. He's the next closest.
Honestly. You know what? I think Drake May's right behind him. Like,
Hey, dude, give it a couple years. Bailey Zappi will be up there.
Shut your mouth. I think on that
From
team
the Browns
anymore.
practice squad?
Yeah, he's going back to the Patriots, winning the starting job, and throwing
Okay, bud.
for 80
Okay.
touchdowns in the postseason.
In the morning, I'm talking about Bailey Zappi.
AFC West.
Good.
AFC West, we got the Kansas City Chiefs.
Pat Mahomes.
Gotta be.
Pat Mahomes with 41.
Fucking insane.
The Chargers.
Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, Philip.
With 14, it is Phillip Rivers. The Denver
Damn.
Broncos.
See, this one,
No.
I just thought about
Tim
this as we were getting toward the West.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Tim Tebow.
Hey,
That
I know
would
he
be
has at least
crazy.
one.
He does
He
have
has at least one.
That was
right, he has
one
at
of the
least
great. One of the greats. I think it's John Elway. No question.
See, I wanna, but there was that Broncos offense that one year was fucking crazy.
But did he have crazy games in the playoffs? Is the question.
That's
When
true.
I was about to say that 2013 team, yeah, was great. It was the number 1 seed, so they had a bye week.
They
So
also
then
scored
8 points in the Super Bowl.
That's
Yep, I was about to say they
that's a
scored
good
no
point.
points.
That's a good point. I'll go LA.
Yeah, I was thinking Manning as well, but Manning was too much of a playoff choker. I guess choker. So give me Elway.
Yes, John Elway with 27 passing touchdowns. And last but not least, the Raiders.
Raiders. Colin, hold on. Before anybody says anything, Colin, I swear to God, if you say Connor fucking Cook, I'm going to lose my shit.
How did you know that was going to be my guess?
Because I
MSU
saw the-
legend,
I saw the fucking twinkle in your eye, dude.
three-time
I'm
Big
not
Ten
about it.
champ.
He's got it all.
Three-time
He got
Big
the stats
Ten
pulled
champ.
up.
Connor Cook. Has
Colin,
at
do you
least one.
have an actual guess or?
No.
This is just stupid bullshit.
I'm gonna go with.
Did you say no?
I'm gonna go with Rich.
God,
Rich
get his
Gannon.
name.
Rich Gannon.
Rich Gannon's not a bad guess. I'm gonna go with Ken Stabler.
And then Colin, I assume no guess.
No guess. No, Connor Cook. Connor Cook. There's one.
Connor Cook, okay. With
I think Connor Cook had
19,
no-
19 passing touchdowns in the postseason, you have Ken Stabler.
Here we go.
Fantastic.
Now
How
that
many
we,
Connor Cook had?
while Marshall's tallying that up, was there any that were like shocking to you guys that person is
Tom Brady on the Patriots.
okay?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
No, not really. I mean, after you said him, the fucking
The Texans.
probably the Lions being fucking
With 5.
yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that wasn't Bobby Lane. I'm not gonna lie. That was kind of crazy to me.
But tallies, Colin and last shocker with 18.
Woo!
Ooh.
Couldn't have guessed that one.
Me in
Would have
second
guessed
to
like
last.
Connor Cook.
Me in second with 21, and Donnie in first. with
Connor
20
Cook was a goaded
22.
answer. Thank you very much.
That fucking Ken Stabler was for the dub too. That was pretty.
Connor
That
good.
was.
Connor Cook is goated though. He's
Please,
Sick.
can we never mention Connor? Guys, we need to
Hey,
have a
he
real
spent
interview.
time as a Lion.
We talked.
did.
We talked.
He's
Colin, you remember Drew Stanton?
Colin,
I do remember.
I know he was
this.
on the lines for a minute. I rethought my fandom. Okay, can we take a fucking deep breath? We bring up guys, we bring up Amir Abdullah.
Oh my gosh!
Nobody even brought him up. Shout out!
Shout out,
guys. We bring
Did
up.
You say Bowling Green? I'm gonna fucking stab you through the computer.
We bring up Bowling Green. We bring up Cooper Rush. We bring up Cooper Rush, Billy Cannon, and Jim Brown every single episode.
Jim Brown didn't get brought up, but shout out Jim Brown.
Like at least 3 months.
If Connor Cook gets added to that list,
he's gonna.
I'm going to crash the fuck out.
That is a 3-time Big Ten champion. Put some respect on his name.
Connor Cook is the worst quarterback I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Okay?
Well, that is the end of this episode of the podcast. Thank you guys for watching. If you did go check out Connor Cook on any social media account he's got. We love Connor
He's got no followers. You will be the first one.
Connor Cook, if you want to come on the podcast.
I was going to say, come on the 4th round podcast.
Cook, if you come on the pod, I'm going to invite Riley, and he's going to beat that man's ass over Zoom because he hates Connor Cook.
Why would he hate Connor Cook? He got thrown
because he was a Raiders fan.
playoff.
Bro, he was so convinced the fucking Raiders were going to win the Super Bowl with Derek Carr that year. And then Connor Cook came in and broke his fucking heart. Connor Cook's ass.
Anyways, we thank you guys for watching. Only 3 more weeks this divisional championship week, and then the Super Bowl, and then the NFL season is over. But off season is always an amazing time. But let's enjoy the year while it lasts. The Lions are still in the playoffs. It's a lot going on, a lot of coaching stuff going on, a lot of playoff games, but we're here for it. This was a long episode, but there's a lot to talk about. So we appreciate you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, please hit the like button, comment Connor Cook in the comments below, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.